And welcome back to the Michael Cohen Show on our continued journey to 500,000 subscribers. Look, it's never been more important to be a part of this community, so help to grow it by subscribing, watching, commenting, and sharing with family and friends, because the insanity, the ridiculous, it's just not stopping. Remember that Michelle Obama always said, when they go low, we go high? Well, she changed her perspective last summer during Trump's third presidential run. And I also unfortunately think that we now have to fight fire with fire. I talk about it in my Substack of this morning. Now, as Trump and his sycophants successfully throw us into this constitutional crisis, Democrats are finally beginning to gear up to retaliate. Now, I know the old adage, two wrongs don't make a right. But when MAGA, when they say that quiet part out loud and that they are announcing plans to redraw districts to gain seats like what we're seeing in Texas and in other states, Democrats must be ready to do the same. Democratic Texas State Representative James Tallarico, he went on Fox with Will Cain to speak the truth about the gerrymandering that's taking place in Texas. Let me show you what he said. Play the clip.
Again, I've condemned all gerrymandering across the country. And in fact, when Democrats had a majority in Congress, they voted to ban gerrymandering in every state, red states and blue states. Do you know how many Republican members of Congress joined them in that effort?
Which one? I'm sorry. Which state did you just refer to?
I'm asking, do you know how many Republicans joined Democrats in the U.S. Congress to ban gerrymandering? All the Democrats voted for it. 0 Republicans voted for it. 0.
It's an odd.
So you can spare me the both sides rhetoric. It's clearly one side that is trying to rig the rules in the middle of the game. This is like two football teams coming out of the locker room at halftime, and the team that's ahead says they want to change the rules for the second half so they can win the game. All of us would be throwing food at the TV if that happened. We don't accept cheating in our politics. We don't accept cheating in our relationships. We shouldn't accept cheating in our elections.
I appreciate whatever you just referred to about the number of Democrat congressmen that I'm unfamiliar with who made this against Republican congressmen who opposed it. It just kind of flies.
Yeah. Again, when they don't have an answer, like this Fox News host, what do? Oh, well, we're just not sure, right? Cain then tried to have this gotcha moment about redistricting in Massachusetts. He's so ill-equipped. Play the clip.
Republican congressman who opposed it. It just kind of flies in the face of reality when I look at the state of Massachusetts, where Donald Trump gets 35% of the votes, and there are 0 Republican representatives from the state of Massachusetts.
And who signed that map in Massachusetts?
And so what I'm curious about is words say one thing and actions do something else in a place like Massachusetts. So you can't refer to random words and actions to me when I see the evidence in these states. Look,
well, you just
in my view, Representative, you gave the ballgame analogy. In my view, what has happened here is you've done something in certain states and you don't like it when it's done in Republican states. And now you're saying you've done the same thing as us. You've done the same thing as us, and we are going to, by the way, if you do it, we're going to ratchet it up even more, in the words of Gavin Newsom.
My party has never gerrymandered in the middle of the decade at the request of the President of the United States, nor would we. The only way this is going to happen in blue states is if Texas executes this power grab. You mentioned Massachusetts. Do you know the party of the governor that signed that map into law? He was a Republican. It was a Republican governor that signed that map into law. So I just want to be clear with our facts, and I don't want to muddy the waters. All of us, whether we're Democrats, independents, or Republicans, we should stand up to politicians who don't want to face accountability at the ballot box. That's exactly what's happening here. And I asked you, if Republican policies are popular, why do they need to redraw these maps? Why can't they just run on their policies?
I'm getting wrapped on time.
Of course he is, right? Now look, Ron DeSantis also goes on to Fox, trying to attack blue states like California. Play the clip.
California is gerrymandered. They have a commission, but that's a ruse. They have Democrats on the commission, liberal independents, and liberal Republicans. And so their map now is gerrymandered, and Gavin wants to do it even more.
Seriously? DeSantis is basically trying to claim that if we do fair maps, Republicans can win. Play the clip.
The state has grown by many millions of people. And so if you look at this, and I would say you pointed out how there's 0 Republicans in those blue states, but I would say that that doesn't even do justice, because if you look at a state like Florida, we're a red state with a few blue dots, right? And so if you do fair maps, Republicans are going to do much better. Democrats have to take the cities and break them up and put those districts into more red areas so that they're able to be competitive. And that's what they did in Illinois. They take all these voters in Chicago and they draw districts stretching out all across the state. So Florida has gone very red during my tenure as governor. Our population has grown, and we have every right to be able to do new districts. Now, we don't have our primaries aren't even till they're more than a year away. So this will probably be something that we'll work with the legislature on in the spring. And be able to deliver, I think, really strong maps.
He's so full of shit, it's scary. If you remember, a couple of days ago, I did a Substack on this issue regarding the Texas gerrymandering. One of the districts that they're redrawing actually is 400 miles from one end to the other. He's using what they're doing in Texas in order to try to validate what takes place in Florida. Now, the other big partisan issue this week, of course, is Trump's decision to put National Guard troops to federalize D.C. Jessica Tarlov, the only sane Fox News journalist, she told her fellow reporters what I have been saying literally all week long, that Trump and MAGA are only targeting blue states, even though it's actually the red states are the ones that have the crime problems. Play the clip.
A lot with the city council.
If
just
a
bucks up
Republican, if Donald Trump started trying to take charge of Republican-run cities, and they exist, go to Oklahoma City, right, and talk to them about the violence there. He never says anything about that. He doesn't talk about murder rampages in red states. He's only targeting blue states. And the fact that he ignores the statistics, and Kash Patel snuck in there, right, with the decline in the murder rate. And we have the video of Donald Trump from just back in May touting the 25% decrease in crime there. The stats don't align with the action.
Here's the problem. Well, here's the problem, though. And Tommy, I want to get you in here. The numbers are what they are, and there's all this discrepancy about whether or not they reflect reality. But the problem is that people definitely don't feel safe. And
Okay, so they don't. How about just bring on more police officers instead of federalizing the streets? Meanwhile, you may have remembered from a different episode here on the Michael Cohen show when I turned around and I said to you, the 3 states that have the highest crime rates are red states. You're talking about Cleveland. You're talking about Tennessee. I mean, for God's sakes, facts are facts. Senator Kennedy, who I think is an idiot, tried to claim that D.C. is a crime-ridden place. People all over social media saying that the neighborhoods that they are mentioning, that Trump and his enablers are mentioning, are actually safe. Play the clip.
It's a start. Brian, here's what I see. Here's what I think most Americans see. I see a proud American city, our nation's capital, in trouble. It has a crime problem. And if you don't believe me, then carry your happy ass down to 8th Street or Columbia Heights or the Navy Yard or Brentwood, 9 o'clock on a Wednesday night, and walk around alone and see what happens.
Look, let me be very clear. I can say the same thing about Louisiana. Turn around and go into certain areas after 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night and see what happens. I have a better idea, moron. How about if you lace yourself around your neck with a bunch of diamonds? Why don't you wear like what Kristi Noem was wearing, a solid gold Rolex, to an ICE detention center and go walking down any street and see what happens? So it's a stupid argument, but only making that argument, of course, on Fox News because there's no pushback. And this morning, dear old Janine Pirro, our new U.S. attorney for District of Columbia, she claimed that crime isn't down. Of course, Trump said that it was, and so did so many others, and that D.C. residents want this increased police presence. Now, my social media says otherwise. Play the clip.
anymore. If we have our way, we will be able to make D.C. safe again. And the president's going to do it. And we've got this. Last night, there were 700 federal and local cops on the streets. And this is what the community wants. They want to be able to be safe. They want to come to the nation's capital and look at the fabulous museums and the monuments that we have here. And last night, there were 43 arrests, and we seized 7 handguns. And every night, it's something else. But this is a message that we're not going to tolerate crime as if that's just the way things go. And I'm tired of hearing that crime is down. It's not down for people who are suffering from violent crime.
Let me be very clear. You may have listened to, again, one of my episodes yesterday where we had Caroline Levitt front and center saying there were 23 arrests, 6 handguns were taken off the street, and 855 federal agents patrolling. Somehow or another, Janine Pirro, very similar to like what goes on in this administration, they doubled the amount. They doubled it. Meanwhile, Rachel Campos Duffy, she tried to make a claim that the pearl clutching over the National Guard is ridiculous. And why? Well, because the National Guard was used on January 6th. No, I'm not making this up. Play the clip.
Absolutely. And you can do, DC is small. If if President Trump solves this problem, it's going to send shockwaves to people living in Chicago and New York City who are being told to just accept what's happening as the new normal. But all this pearl clutching over the use of the National Guard is absolutely ridiculous. First of all, you and I both know that, they used the National Guard on January 6th to stop people from protesting. But
no, oh my God. It's amazing. It's amazing that you can actually we'll call you a journalist, if that's even what we call you. You could be a journalist on Fox News, say whatever the hell you want. And as long as it comports with this fake message, they just allow it to go on and they promote it. She also tries to make the claim that Gavin Newsom's use of the National Guard during COVID. I mean, it's insane. Play that clip.
But also, don't forget, in California, Gavin Newsom used the National Guard to enforce COVID rules. I had pictures sent to me this morning by Representative Shannon Grove. She's a state representative in California, perhaps one of their best. And she showed me photos from a protest of Christians who were out protesting during COVID saying, don't lock us down, don't kick us out of our churches. And what did Gavin Newsom do? He sent his National Guard to intimidate them and also to enforce their stupid social distancing and masking rules outside. Right. So spare me with the trouble with the National Guard. This is exactly what the National Guard should be doing.
Gavin Newsom uses the National Guard and law enforcement to ensure that law-abiding citizens don't socialize. President Donald Trump has now used it to ensure that law-abiding citizens don't get your car jacked by criminals. Rachel Campos Duffy, right. Always great to see you.
I mean, seriously, who writes this shit? It's a joke. Meanwhile, Grok, of course, was quick to fact-check her claims. Let me show you what it said. In it, it turns around and says, Grok, is any of this true? By Tammy. No, this claim is false. During COVID-19, Gavin Newsom deployed the California National Guard for humanitarian aid like food distribution and testing support, not for enforcing rules or intimidating Christian protesters at churches. Enforcement of restrictions was handled locally, leading to lawsuits, but no Guard involvement. Well, I guess Grok is also a far left-leaning liberal woke asshole, right? Then, of course, Newsom's office responded as well. Let me show you what they said. In it, Trump administration is wrong on California again. The fact? California Guard was deployed as medical workers and to assist humanitarian aid, like food banks. They never supported law enforcement around COVID rules. Even Grok knows. So let me be very clear about something. A lot of people couldn't get out. Either they were afraid or they were just unable to. Well, how do you make sure that the elderly or those that are incapable of getting out are able to at least get sustenance? They can get food and help. Well, you deploy, as the governor is allowed to, the California National Guard to assist, including doing COVID testing. What they do, they lie. They take a photo and they lie about it. And they try to make that the reality. That's why I constantly say, help me to grow this community so that we get truth out there. And as always, thanks for listening. Hey, everyone. First of all, thanks for watching. I mean, we're going to be posting daily episodes with reactions and talking about politics. We'll be talking about everything, in fact. So please like and subscribe. Join us on this journey.